Before we start,
Yeah.
have you ever worn a nursing hat?
No, I haven't.
And have you ever worn all white?
No. Well, I take that back because in nursing school, our uniforms were all white. But as a nurse on the floor, no.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
You
It was all
decided
white.
on an all white uniform.
Yes.
That's literally the worst decision I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, everybody hates it, but
Oh my God.
yeah.
You have to wear like pants underneath the white pants. Every time I've ever worn white pants, white scrubs, you could see through.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're
the
terrible.
worst.
White pants are horrible. I don't think there is a pair of white pants that you cannot see through.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. Okay, let's start. Let's start. By the way, this is the first episode of Nurse Jackie. Do you do that, Tina?
What?
Open up pills, capsules?
Yes.
Okay.
Those, you know what that reminds me of? Have you ever opened up Cymbalta? A capsule
Probably.
to put through an NG tube or through well, you can't put it through an NG tube, but oh my gosh. See, can she really do that? You can inhale those little balls into your lungs? Really? How is it not, how do they not have to crush it up? It seems like she'd have to crush it or like melt them somehow into liquid or like, and like into a powder or like crush them into a powder.
Have you ever seen them?
Well, I don't know what she has there, but I have seen I have seen granules that look like that. They're like little tiny rocks almost. Cymbalta comes in, it's a blue and white capsule, and there are like 6 or 8 little they're just round pebble looking things, and they're really hard, and they're not meant to go through a peg tube. They will clog a peg tube every single time.
Yeah, no.
You have to just ask for them to put them on something else because you cannot put them through a peg tube.
Respect, but it's doable. Like if you need to snort, not if you need to, if you want to snort it, it is very, very doable.
You can snort little rocks into your lungs.
Tina, you're a good human being because yes, there's a lot. I mean, those pebble-sized little Cymbaltas, and in her case, I think, what do you think she's snorting? Is that?
I would assume it's something like oxycodone or something like that. I mean, I've never seen oxycodone.
Doesn't come in a capsule.
I know, right? That. What would it be? I don't know of anything that comes like that. That would be something that she would be wanting to snort.
Maybe that's a Hollywood thing because all of the narcotics I'm thinking of, I don't remember a narcotic that you could do that to.
I feel like they are dramatizing it, and they think that it just looks more interesting if the little things just bounce like that, because I can't imagine snorting that into your lungs.
Word. All right. Now I hear you. All right, let's get back to it.
We good? All right, I gotta go. Hey, champ.
Blood in the air. Let's check for glucose, rule out CSF, all right? This guy needs a scan.
I know what I'm doing. Jesus, bossy. That leg's fucked up.
Ortho, seriously? He's got to bleed, I'm telling you right now.
He's totally lucid, 100%. Knock, knock. Who's there? See what I tell you?
Is that bad?
There's so many things wrong with this. I watched this a long time ago. I watched this first episode, but I think I was either in nursing school or right before. Maybe I was doing my prerequisites when I watched it. So I remember being really impressed with the whole thing because they obviously, it's a nurse. She's very knowledgeable. She's very involved in the patient's care. She's very knowledgeable. So I remember being really impressed with the show because it seemed like it really gave a really good perspective of what nurses do and gave respect to nurses because it shows their knowledge, it shows their skills, and But now that I'm watching this now that I actually went through nursing school and I've been working for 4 years, there's so many things wrong with it that I'm just like, well, crap, now I know too much to be able to enjoy it.
Have you ever seen a doctor walk into a room on their Bluetooth phone talking about weekend plans? That's the most disrespectful thing I think I've seen in my life. That is so bad. But I like it. I love it. I think Hollywood does a really, really good job.
Yeah, they're definitely dramatizing. Right. And the thing that really stands out to me in this whole situation with this patient is that if a patient has been in a trauma like this, the very first thing they're going to do is a CT. They're not going to not do a CT. It's just, it's not going to happen. It's just not. This would never happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have done a CT.
If you have a neck.
Yeah. They do it every time. They'll do it every time. There's not going to be a doctor that's going to go, no, I'm not going to order CT. It's protocol. It's not going to they're going to get a CT. So it's just like, now that you know this, it's hard to.
Yeah.
It's hard to take it seriously. Yeah.
Let's see.
No, I can't.
You should not have died. Peter, Michael, Donovan.
Maybe back then that's when how that worked.
It will not be a waste.
Right? Just sign it on the card. Everyone takes it differently.
Yeah.
Jackie! Chocolate milk.
Dr. Cooper?
Coop! Call me Coop.
That was my patient. I told you he was slipping, and he was. I tell you to order a scan, you order a goddamn scan, because if you don't do it, I'll just go to the next doctor and the next doctor after that.
Except she didn't.
That kid died, and it is all on you.
Oh my gosh, this is so disturbing.
Is this happening, not happening? I can't even tell.
And then she's not doing anything to stand up for herself. I don't like the example it's setting here.
Well, so I've seen Nurse Jackie, so she definitely stands up for herself, and I'm never worried about her standing up for herself.
Well, I just worry about the someone else watching this thinking that that's okay. That's all I'm saying.
And that's not a real thing.
Of course it's not. That's ridiculous. It sounds like something someone would say who just wants to touch someone inappropriately and get away with it.
But
then she just let him by with that.
Working in a hospital, seeing death that often, and seeing how he was reacting after the death, do you think that that's a real? I know you said that it's no one's going to be that happy, but I work on a unit. I know people who work in ICUs. I know nurses that work in EDs that see death a lot more often than I do. But you still think that that's obviously out of bounds. There's no way in hell anyone could be singing after someone just died from an SDH at the age of what? He looked like 35.
Well, what I'm saying is, for one thing, I do see death a lot on my floor. We see it, I don't know, for me, probably a couple times a month. That seems like a lot for somebody who never really saw anyone die before I started, before I became a nurse. And that's not even those deaths are usually expected. They're because someone has gotten to the point, right? They were a full code up until finally the family said, okay, let's stop this. And then they go, to comfort measures, and then they pass. But in this setting, I don't know. I've never worked in an emergency department in a situation like this where this would have been something that would have happened. But I can't imagine. I just know personally, if a mistake is made that doesn't even cause harm to a patient, but could have caused harm to a patient, it's devastating to me. That's how I personally feel. And I really would be shocked if any nurse or doctor could make a mistake like he made. That's an unforgivable mistake that he made, to not get a head CT when a patient had just been in a bike accident. Yeah. It's almost impossible to happen. That's why I was just so shocked at the beginning, because It just wouldn't happen. If it really did, he would definitely not be smiling happy because he would know he was responsible for his death. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying, I understand that people die and then we're back at the nurse's station making jokes about stuff. That happens because we have to have, we cannot be sad about we can't. We'd never be able to function.
Yeah. You can't feel you can't cry your eyes out for every death that happens.
No.
It's literally impossible. You can't, you can't,
No.
you just can't feel that much, right? Or
No.
you wouldn't be able to work as a nurse. You can't do the job. You literally can't.
That doesn't mean that we don't have compassion for people. And there are times when people are going through things on our floor. Family is, walking up, pacing the halls. They know their family member's about to die. And I've had 16-year-old girls laying in bed with their mother and mom's on comfort care and dad's pacing the halls. We've had this, we've watched it. That you can't just watch that and not,
no, there's no way.
It's excruciating, but the nurses on the floor, the nurses, the CNAs and whoever, and the respiratory therapists, everybody, we all have to keep doing our jobs because we have to keep taking care of everyone. So you can't just break down.
Because you have 5 other patients that need you. You have 3 other families that are like in the same exact situation with a family member that is still alive. So if you're on your hands and knees crying, sobbing, someone needs to take care of everybody else.
That's right. And usually the crying or the emotions come out at the end of the shift, either in the car or when you get home. Sometimes for me, it's the next day. Like I don't even want to talk about it that night. The next day, I'll be talking about it and it all comes flooding out. And I'll start crying, trying to tell somebody about it. And it's just very emotional because I'm like looking back. I kept it kind of like pushed down all that time and then it just kind of floods out.
Yeah. And you know what happened for me? Like there have been very few times where I've actually like cried my eyes out, but I do know for a fact that like when everything's happening, everything's moving, everything's happening. And then literally when you have like a minute, like when I want to go sit down and eat, you like stop and then all of the emotions just hit you. Yeah. And it's like, and then I'm like in tears and I don't want to move. And it's the worst thing ever. It's hard. It really is hard. But Dr. Cooper here, Mr. Coop, is a dick. He's a dick.
He is. It's not.
he's just a dick. I mean, he's horrible. I mean, yeah. Unrealistic. Well, you'd hope that no one is like
I
this.
hope so. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, mad lady.
Hi, Zoe, first year nursing, Queens Community. Hi, again.
For a Schmeat, I took the last 3. This one's yours.
Fuck off, Mohammed. No offense.
After 12.5 hours, nurses are 3 times more likely to make mistakes.
Lies, Mrs. Acolytus, lies.
2 things. Did you take Dr. Akeboy's pen? And can you do a double on Monday?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Yes.
Yes.
A quick question? Sure. Shut up. Is that a question? I don't like chatty. Okay? I don't do chatty. I like quiet. Quiet and mean. Those are my people.
Those nurse jobs.
You want a little something for your back?
Yeah,
No,
that's
all
what
right,
she
it's
wants.
Sweet. I'm okay. You know what? Maybe a little oxy.
Get the blade away from him. Cut his whole ear off.
Good girl. Put it on ice. Nice. Puke away from the ear, Zoe.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's marvelous the hotel has a nurse on duty.
There's a lot I need to ask you. First of all, do you think that that's Jackie eating her young?
You mean at the beginning when she...
I think all of it. I don't know. I really like the tough love, Tina.
Yeah?
I feel like some people might be a little too soft. Do you think she's eating her young? She just told her to shut up. She wouldn't stop talking.
I guess it depends on personality. I don't know, because if I were in Zoe's shoes...
You wouldn't have been talking that much.
No, I wouldn't have been. I'm too quiet. But yeah, if I were in Zoe's shoes and Nurse Jackie was, said something to me like she said to her, I probably would have felt, I don't know, I probably would have felt like I didn't have, I couldn't speak up for my, like ask questions and be curious and that sort of thing. So I feel like as a preceptor, and that's what Jackie is going to be to this nursing student, you have to leave the line of communication open for your nursing student or your new grad that you're precepting so that they feel comfortable to always ask questions and never be afraid to say, I don't understand something. Wait, what is this? I don't think you ever want your new grad or your new nursing student to be afraid to ask questions, because a lot of people are afraid to ask questions because they think they're supposed to know everything. They just got out of nursing school. What did they teach you? If you don't know how to do this, then what did they teach you in nursing school? I've heard experienced nurses say things like that. And I'm just like, they taught you things, but that doesn't mean you know everything. It doesn't mean you were able to start an IV or even got an opportunity to do that. Doesn't mean that, you have to put in a few Foleys before you are comfortable doing it. I don't understand that attitude of you should be on the floor ready to work as a nurse. People should be comfortable asking questions.
Of course. But I also think you should be able to read the room. I think nursing I know like the big thing is nurses eat their young, but like as a nursing student, as like an adult that is going into being a preceptee, like read the room, right? Like you just got handed off by one of the nurses to a nurse, basically like you have to take this one, right? So she should know.
Yeah, she obviously wasn't excited about it. Yeah,
exactly. So obviously, but we'll leave that alone because there's a lot more of Zoe coming up. But Tina, I don't know. I've never worked at a hospital where there was a pharmacist, and I know this is probably because there's no medical. What's it called? Omnicell. Right? There's no way you draw the meds. You have to actually ask the pharmacist for the narcotics to take to the patient.
Wait, what?
There's no Omnicell. There's no med dispensary. Like the pharmacist gives you the pills that you need to use.
In this hospital where Nurse Jackie is?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's why like you can just have like the pills on you, and that's why she had to physically go deliver the chemo medication.
Oh.
Yeah, I know this because, and I think it's in like the beginning of season 2 or the end of season 1 that they get their first electronic medication dispenser.
Where they have to count. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's absolutely nuts. And I can see how I don't know how people get away with stealing drugs nowadays, but back then it should have been super, super, super easy. And it also helps if you like to use Oxy if you're having sex with the pharmacist.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, shit's going down in this hospital, and I love it all. It's building up the drama. But real quick, I don't know how much of Nurse Jackie you've seen, but at this point of the show, do you like Nurse Jackie? Do you think she's a good nurse, a bad nurse, or a good person, horrible person? What do you think of Nurse Jackie as of right now?
Well, as of right now, I like her.
You do?
Yeah.
Someone who's snorting Oxy, who's yelling at her nursing student, you do like her.
I think she's so far, and it may be hard because I have seen later on, so it's hard for me to know how I don't remember how I felt before, but I still think that I still feel like you could give her a lot of grace. She's been under a lot. She's been through all this stuff with this patient, and then she gets thrown a nursing student. Nursing students are stressful. It's not easy having a nursing student follow you. They judge you every second of the day because they're judging you based on NCLEX. They're judging you based on their textbooks.
Yes.
They don't understand yet that you don't do everything by the book. And so you know what they're thinking because you thought those things too when you were in nursing school. And so you're just like, oh, I don't feel like going through this right now, So I kind of feel for her. I like her.
Yeah, I'm on the total opposite spectrum. The first thing we saw her was doing drugs. I think she's a bad person. At this point, just watching the show, she's a horrible human being, right? I think she has a good heart when you see her take care of patients.
Taking drugs makes her a horrible human being.
No, the taking drugs and yelling at the nursing student and just not giving a fuck, right? That's what makes her a bad person.
But yet she was trying to advocate. She was trying to advocate for her patient. She was trying to save his life. She obviously has back issues, so I kind of have some compassion for her there. I feel like she has gotten herself into this addiction, perhaps with the opiates that she's taking. It seems as though rather than taking the medication to get some sort of high, she's probably having to take them just to be able to function because she's in so much pain. So because she's not high, she doesn't act, she seems normal. It seems like she's having to take it in order to be able to function.
And having sex on the clock at work?
She's desperate. She's doing that to get the medicine. People do desperate things when they're addicted. That's what addiction does to people. It's just it's showing you how powerful addiction really can be.
You're a brave lady. You're a brave lady. Last question before we jump back. They had enough time to go for lunch at a hotel and have a sit-down meal? I mean, wine and everything?
No.
That's craziness, right? That is ridiculousness.
Is there any way that was after the shift?
No, she's back at work right now, Tina. You'll see. We'll see. But that's probably the most unrealistic thing.
That is the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen.
All right, let's get back to it.
Would it be okay if I took a picture of your injuries? My stupid little brother is like a bong hit away from launching fireworks from his ass cheeks. You might think twice.
Cautionary tale. Enjoy.
This is a HIPAA violation like I've never seen.
Holla! Can I have his heart?
Oh.
I'm sorry? Oh, how about a kidney? I know there's like this organ market where rich people pay a lot of money for body parts. I know it doesn't work that way. $20,000 for a kidney. Don't you think he owes me that? For getting himself killed on that goddamn bike?
Tina, you're right. I love Miss Jackie.
He made me pancakes this morning.
Fuck you.
Oh! Oh, wow.
Go home. Turn your brain off. I'll see you tomorrow.
I think you're a saint. Just so you know.
God damn it. I almost killed you. I almost killed you. I was thinking more along the lines of Vicodin.
I'm not an idiot.
Love you.
Love you too.
Hey, babe. I made pancakes for dinner. How great is that?
It bears repeating. Make me good, God. But not yet.
Did it even occur to you that that was going to happen?
No, I was shocked when I first saw the kids. I remember feeling the same exact way. When I saw the kids, I was like, oh shit, she's got kids. I hope Boo Boo at work knows. And then when I saw the husband, I was like, oh my God, she's definitely not a saint. And then when he said he's made pancakes, I was like, Jack, you fucked up.
Uh-oh. Because it's not like they're married and it's just kind of a kind of marriage. It's like he's actually a good guy and, you know.
But I love the show, and I'm really happy we decided to do Nurse Jackie because this is such a good show. And the reason I love the show is because it ended perfectly. as nurses, all we do is take care of people, and you want to think of yourself as a saint, and people look at you and they think that you're all good, and you are expected to be on the ball 100% every single day, 24/7. But we're fucking human beings, Tina. Yeah. We're human beings. And obviously, I'm not saying that as nurses, we're all going into the bathroom and sniffing up some Oxy or Vicodin. I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm not saying that we're stabbing people's tires or like having sex in the on-call room or the pharmacy. But I'm saying that the show reminds you, it doesn't matter what you do every day. Everyone's a human being. Everyone's going through their struggles. And when your job is to take care of someone, it takes so much out of you. It takes so much, like physically, emotionally, mentally, all of it. It takes so much out of you. Yeah. And you're expected to care for the patients, care for your precept team, for the new nurses. It's so much. And I love this show. I love this show, Tina.
I agree. I think it's great. I think it's very real. They're definitely, especially in the beginning, there were some things that now that I'm an experienced nurse, kind of was like, whoa, I don't know if that would exactly happen that way, but it doesn't necessarily even matter because a lot of the bones of the show are accurate, just like how involved the nurse really is in the patient care and the life of the patient and what happens, and that patient's life is in your hands. And if you're not thinking clearly, one mistake could cost somebody their life. I love that the show definitely, it shows that. So it's different than a lot of other medical shows that don't really seem to show the nurse's true role at the hospital.
No, I love that. And just like you said, like that mistake at the end of the day where she was hanging the bag and everything was normal until Zoe left and she was like, oh my goodness, I almost killed you. Mm-hmm. Like that's literally what happens. That's what happens to people at the end of a shift when you've had one patient die, another patient come in all cut up, all bloody, and then the third patient come in who is the person that caused the other patient to be all cut. And then by the end of the day, you think, oh my goodness, I'm just hanging the bag here. And the smallest thing, you can draw maybe it was potassium that she was hanging instead of whatever she was supposed to be hanging, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like the littlest thing could be like the biggest deal when you are a nurse, especially when you are in healthcare. But I don't know. It was a fantastic start or a fantastic show. I don't know, like for everyone's watching or listening, I don't know if we're going to do a lot of Nurse Jackie, but after watching this first episode, I'm like, holy shit, I'm obsessed with the show.
I know it almost makes me want to do the whole thing on Nurse Jackie, but I don't really.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes after I do the editing and see what happens post. But I don't know. I really like what we're doing here.
Yeah, and there's so many issues that you could pull out of this. The idea of working 12-hour shifts or working over whoever that was, the nurse manager or whoever was talking about 12-hour shifts. I've heard 16 hours that I know that a lot of hospitals won't let you work more than 16 hours.
I know I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's state law. Well, in Massachusetts, you can't work anywhere more than 16 hours. I don't know if it's national or it's just a state law, but I know here in Mass, you can't work more than 16 hours. Do you know why doctors are allowed to do it?
I don't know. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. That doesn't
make any sense, right? Just because I know they do 24-hour shifts and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe it's different. Anyways, but no, you were right, because that is a big deal. Like she literally said, this was way in the beginning. She literally told her in the beginning of her conversation, she's like, yeah, you can't work more than 80 hours in a week. It's not legally prohibited. You can't do it. You just can't do it. And then legitimately, when she was done saying that, she was like, can you pick up a double tomorrow? It's like, how are you going to how are you going to say that? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Tina, thank you for joining me. We'll have to chop this up and we'll see how it ends up. We'll see how this goes. I really enjoy this. And I don't know. I want to enjoy watching television, watching things that y'all out there like to watch. And I like to bring it back to nursing because, as nurses, we're nurses all day, every day. We're not just nurses in the hospital. So I'd love to take this and share it with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you for having me.